Hey guys, I'm Taylor.
And I'm Christian.
We're from Knucklebump Farms.
And this is Like a Farmer.
Hey everybody, it's Pat. Welcome to another episode of Like a Farmer. I'm out here at the social media famous Knucklebump Farms with Taylor and Christian.
Yay.
Round of applause, everybody. Thanks for having me out today.
Thanks for coming.
I mean, you want to talk about we got the cows mooing, the ducks are quacking.
Yep.
We've already been around the farm. I think I already got cow on my boots. I mean, this is real life farm life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to be out here. I want to start from the beginning, honestly. Knucklebump, where's the name come from?
You know, that's like the most common question that we get. At the time, we were like, I think we had like maybe $100 in our bank account. We were living in my grandparents' driveway in a camper, in their camper, not even a camper that we owned, in their camper. And I just like had so many dreams, but I had no idea how to make them like a reality. And I remember thinking like, you know, what's the next step for me? Where am I going? Like, you know, what does my, path have in store? And I had a dream one night that it was a dream that I started a coffee company, and it was called Knucklebump Coffee Co.
Okay,
and so it just was like really catchy to me, and I just had like this vision of like the Knucklebump and just like the the cooperation of it all.
Yeah.
And like 2 days later, I was telling my grandma, I'm like, I started this social media, and I want to make like an Instagram for the farm and everything, but we've got to have a name because that's what is going to keep people coming back. And so she was like trying to come up with all of these names in her head, and I was like, what about Knucklebump Farms? And she goes, that's cool, I like it. And so that was just like how it happened. We were just sitting out on the patio on the porch swing, and I said, how about Knucklebump Farms? She was like, that's great. And that's how it came to be.
It's a great name, and I now have the merch with all the Knucklebumps, so I appreciate that.
Of course.
You're welcome.
And look, you've got so many famous, I'm going to call them talents out here, right?
Yeah.
Especially on social media.
Characters,
Whether it's Emmanuel the Emu
Yeah.
or Derek, who I got to meet today. But I want to start with y'all. I mean, I've got to know y'all for a little bit now, and y'all both come from different backgrounds, but have gotten to utilize that for the success of this farm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Taylor, start with you. I mean,
Okay.
where'd you come from, Taylor?
I came from here.
Indian Town, USA.
Indian Town, very small town. I think that what really puts it into perspective for me is I always say my great-grandmother's P.O. box number is 1.
Number 1, yeah.
In Indian Town. So we're very, my grandmother was born here, and my great-grandmother was born here in 1929 to a midwife. And, she married her middle school sweetheart and built a lumber company and a cattle, operation. And that's just kind of, my family got started. My grandma always tell everybody, they skinned alligators and cut fence posts, and that was how they made their living for the first couple years of their life until they saved up enough money to buy land and to start W&W Lumber Company. And
what year was this? Like, I mean, this was...
So my great-grandmother was born in Indian Town in 1929, and then she and my grandpa went to high school they grew up together, and they actually ended up meeting, like really rekindling things in middle school.
Yeah.
And back then, it was like not everybody really went to high school.
Totally.
So
well, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, this is like old school Florida where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
And when you think about the 20s and the 30s, I mean, all you did back then was farm and work and a little bit of both, right? And it's so important for the viewers to know, like, Florida, we got 1,000 people a day moving here.
Wow.
Tourism is number 1 in the state, and depending on the year, I mean, ag.
Right.
It fluctuates between ag and tourism, but it's so important for the people to know, like, Florida's an ag state. So go ahead.
And I think that, a lot of people lose sight of that. Right now, we're in this super, super small town. I mean, you saw driving through, there's like maybe 1 or 2 red lights in our town. And like, we've got an event going on uptown right now where they're celebrating the, breaking ground on a 2,000 home development, and so I think that we are kind of in this pivotal point of we're seeing so much building and we're losing so much of the farmland, and like that is kind of what the core of Knucklebump Farms is about bringing back, animals and farming and just agriculture to our local community, to the children in our community, and different things like that. Because everybody thinks Florida, they think, Disney World or
Miami,
they think Miami,
Totally,
South Beach, different things like that. But you miss, the thousands and thousands of acres of sugarcane fields that are right around here, and all of the different, things that, U.S. sugar grows, and the Everglades and just like the absolute amazing ecosystem that is. And I think that a lot of that gets lost in translation because
of tourism,
we have
or maybe
Disney and we have beaches.
Yeah, and people forget what Disney was, right? I mean, Disney was citrus groves.
Exactly.
Miami was sugar cane.
Yeah. Exactly.
And like people, it's hard to remember what built this state back in the day. And I love what y'all are doing in this area because y'all are keeping it natural Florida, what it should be.
And if you look right here, you see all these little divvies.
Yeah.
This was an orange grove.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
So all of that was, and it was a fully functioning orange grove for actually a good portion of my life. I would say it was about high school is when they had that massive, that everything came down, started killing all the citrus, and they had like that big, fluctuation that came in. And so a lot of the citrus farming kind of took like a turn and a tumble, and we lost a lot of the orange trees and stuff. That's what happened here. But I mean, my whole life, for majority, we would have people come in and pick all the citrus and do all of that. So it was, fully functioning. But people
awesome.
just they don't see it like that.
Totally. Christian, what about you?
I grew up actually like 10 miles from here. It's the same county as Indiantown. It's called Palm City. And I grew up on a 15-acre farm. But it was originally a wholesale nursery that my dad and mother had. And we had like just a homestead kind of outside of the wholesale nursery. So we had pigs and goats and things we had to tend to before school. And then after the wholesale nursery, my dad sold that business and then built a 32-stall barn by himself and like 2 helpers and all of us kids. I'm one of 5. And it turned into a full functioning horse riding facility. We had boarders there, and I would head up the trail rides and teach kids how to ride, and then we would host disability camps in the summers and help people with disabilities be able to come out and have some sort of connection with the horses and everything. So then they sold everything after like 3 years of running. They went through a divorce and all of that. But this is kind of my passion that I lost when I was so young, that I'm now able to live through Knucklebump, and it's just such a blessing. So yeah, that's kind of like my backstory in ag. My mom also was part of the Farm Bureau for over 20 years.
Yeah.
With my grandma.
Yeah. So my mom knew her grandma.
What a great organization that is, right?
Yes.
I mean, you talk about, and statewide Farm Bureau and nationwide too. I mean, they do such a great job on advocating for people like y'all.
And helping each other.
And helping.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It seemed like at one point in time what y'all wanted to do was travel around the world in the camper. So what happened to let's do camp life, but you wanted to come back to farm life?
Well, even before the camp life was, both of us have kind of like a heart in entertainment and being a light to the world. And we were both kind of separately moving towards that goal. Her more so on influencing and social media. She's been doing way before Knucklebump, multiple great success. She's just an actress at heart and just has a beautiful heart as well. And for me, it was more so like I was wanting to do improv and have a talk show, and I was working towards, and we both ended up in LA.
Yeah, we
but
were
then
living
the pandemic
off of
happened.
Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles, both
Are
of
you
us at
kidding
the same
me?
time, like pursuing.
From Indiantown to Los Angeles.
Yeah. We were living in LA, and the pandemic hit. I think it was literally like 2 months after I moved to LA.
Yeah.
Bam, everything shut down, and so we like could not. Our lease ended, and I think it was June, end of May, beginning of June, and we couldn't get out of there fast enough, and that's kind of what led to we decided we were going to take like a week in her little hatchback Mazda 3 driving back to Florida from California. Ended up going up to a friend's house in Northern California, and we were like, oh, we're like loving it here. So we like went to Walmart and bought a tent for like $40. And didn't know how to set it up, but we came back, we like set up this tent on our friend's property, and we just like fell in love with just the freedom of, being on like lockdown for so long. It was like we just missed being in nature. And so we literally stayed there. I want to say it was like we spent 6 weeks. 1 week turned into 6 weeks, and we bathed in creeks, and we, lived totally off the grid and made our way back to Florida. And I was like, I don't want to stop doing this, you know, because everything was still at a standstill. And so we were like, we literally busted our butts. And it's actually it's so crazy, to think about it. I pulled out of my, my mom had put like savings bonds away for me when I was like really little, and I like withdrew all of the savings bonds, and we had just enough cash to buy
a camper,
that little camper that's parked right over there.
16-footer.
That's awesome.
We bought that camper with cash, all of the cash that we had. We literally had like no money left after that, and we bought that camper, and all I had to tow it was my Town and Country minivan, my Chrysler Town and Country.
I love rocking that van.
So we hooked that Chrysler Town and Country up, and we towed that little thing all around the United States for a year and a half, and we just fell like even deeper in love and kind of just figuring out like, you know, where we were needed, and we volunteered and we did this
farm
and we did
life.
that, and
we worked on farms. Like we just did it, you know, volunteered. We just did beds of gardens for some people that were trying to start a farm and a garden and all of that, and just traveled around and just like trying to see where God wanted to use us and help people. And we were, you know, then all of a sudden we ended up back in our hometown, not even thinking ever, and never thought we would be back here. We really didn't, and thankfully we did, because we had all of the support of the community and her family and this property, and now we're here, and now everything's just falling into place each and every day.
It's insane,
really,
because it's like when God has a plan, it's like incredible how it comes.
If you keep moving,
full circle.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's really neat.
He's going to give you the plan. You just got to follow it.
Yeah.
And COVID did that with a lot of people. And when you think about COVID, and I think, in my opinion, a lot of the success of Like a Farmer has come from people wanting to be in this lifestyle, being outside, understanding where your food comes from, understanding the people who grow the food. Like, it's so cool to see what COVID, obviously it was a terrible thing, but it brought a lot of dreams together.
I love that you say that.
Advocating for ag, but the lifestyle of what I'm calling rural America. So it's super cool to see that. Like, I would love for, I mean, one of my dreams too is like the gardens in the inner cities, just so people knew how to grow their own food and how to, there's one thing that as a country we always have to be mindful of. We never want to be one of those countries that depend on other countries for food, because on the educational side there's a lot of people that don't know there's countries out there, if we didn't help them give them food, that they'd shut down as a country. Like they would starve. And it's so cool to see like people like yourselves that learned this trait and growing up, but then grew passion, especially during a pandemic like COVID. I mean, y'all are in Los Angeles, you just told me, and you made it back to Indiantown to continue to do what you were doing during the pandemic. Like, that's unbelievable.
Us being on the road and genuinely connecting together just with each other, we were so strong when we came back into, you know, here and putting our feet in the ground and like setting roots, that like we were so connected with each other that it was like we didn't even worry about, you know, family drama or issues like that, because like we just truly were prepared in that year and a half that we were traveling to just truly be successful in like what God was ultimately setting up for us all along that we weren't even aware of, which is really awesome.
We cross a lot of weird boundaries in the world of like stereotypes, for sure. We still believe in a God. We mentioned Jesus' name, like that's from our roots as well, but we also had a lot of backlash from churches and acceptance and that, and then we're also female farmers, so
and that's what,
like,
exactly, and
so
that
crazy.
Also is a huge topic that I like to push for. Women in agriculture is one of the most important things that we need to be talking about in ag. My mom still, I mean, she runs the family farm along with my brothers back home, but she's an owner and operator, a woman in ag. That's the hottest topic, one of the hottest topics in agriculture right now. Number one, women are just smarter than men, so we just need to go and say that. I'm saying that.
I'm glad I didn't have to say it.
Okay, we talked a little bit behind the scenes on that. Look, you can walk around this farm and you could call all of these animals pets.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they're unbelievable. There you go.
We got Tina, Tracy, we got Butter.
Exactly. So, but you're running a business here. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you're a businesswoman. So explain to everybody, like, what exactly do y'all do out here at Knucklebump Farms? Like, what's the business aspect to it?
So I was raised, there's like levels to it. I was raised, and my grandma's a commercial Brangus farmer. She runs, 1,100 acres, and she has a full herd of Brangus cattle that are beef cattle. And I've always just had a passion for animals, and I was like, I love farming, and I love, like, my great-grandmother, she's 94, she was Woman of the Year in Agriculture in 2006 in the state of Florida. Like, we're talking, that's
awesome.
My grandfather passed away in 1993, and she's run everything on her own since then. Never remarried, never been on another date in her life, so she's, that's the same one that was a middle school sweetheart and everything. So, so she's on.
And still with us, I mean,
she's 94.
Grandma. Shout out Grandma.
She drives a Ford F-150 with a sticker on the back that says, "Keep honking, I'm reloading." So she's something.
I love that.
She's something.
Yeah, she's.
But working cows, and I just always had any time when my grandma had a little Dobie calf out there, she'd bring it to me and I'd bottle raise it from the time I was probably 4 or 5 years old. Just always had this love and connection with animals. Like growing up, Steve Irwin was like my idol, and I always loved agriculture, and I loved, the animal aspect of it. But I just was like, man, how can I like do this without like them having to like die, you know? Like, and I'm all for, you know, farming in a way that is ethical and, you know, raising your own meat and treating it. Like, I think there's a massive disconnect in the way that people, you know, view the beef industry. And it's like, yeah, there are wrong ways to do it but there are ethical ways to do it in that it should be done if you are going to do it. And I'm a believer in that. But for me, I was like, you know, I can't eat, these are all my pets. I genuinely can't eat them. So I was like, where can I, you know, how can I make a living being involved with animals, doing agriculture, you know, having the cattle, but them not, you know, go for beef production. And so I was like, started doing my research. I really got fascinated with Highlands and the fluffy cows. And then there's, you know, minis. And so like kind of creating a small fluffy version of like the cutest pet in the world is what I became passionate about, and doing it, you know, ethically and organically in a pasture. And by organically, I just mean, you know, naturally, like you put a bull and a cow and they breed naturally and they have babies naturally, and I don't really intervene at all, other than for vaccines and basic things like that. But I was like, you know, that's what I want to do. And my family was like, yeah, well, that's crazy, so good luck failing. And nobody really saw it. Like I come from a family that doesn't even have like Facebook, so to understand like the social media aspect behind it and things like that, they were like, yeah, can you like get an office job, please, you weirdo? So
like, why are you filming in the pasture with the animals? Like, they would tell me that when we got back, and I knew a little bit about social media, but she really is like an expert. And I was like, no, it'll all make sense. Like, just give her, like, let her do her passion. She's making funny content. People are loving it, and they're like, "What is Taylor filming out there again?" I was like, just wait.
There's like vision.
There's a vision. Yeah, they just don't understand social media at all.
We'd like to take a minute to talk about Blue Otter sunglasses. Blue Otter sunglasses are the shades of choice for country superstars like Luke Combs, Cody Johnson, Riley Green, and Hardy. With Carl Zeiss scratch-resistant lenses, Blue Otter has partnered with AgAmerica to create the Like a Farmer frames, which benefit farmers and ranchers in rural communities. 10% of each purchase of the Like a Farmer Blue Otter sunglasses goes to AgAmerica Giving. Go to blueotterpolarized.com and search Like a Farmer. You can also go to likeafarmer.com and click on merch. Hey y'all, it's Pat, and I'm back to talk about my great partner, Fresh from Florida. Food tastes better when it's grown closer to home. That's why when you look for the Fresh from Florida logo where you shop, you can rest assured that you'll find the freshest, best tasting, and highest quality produce you can get. In the field one day and at the store the next, Fresh from Florida produce goes directly from Florida farmers to you. And right now, sweet Florida watermelon, crunchy Florida sweet corn, and juicy Florida tomatoes are all in peak season, which means they're at peak perfection with flavors as vibrant as Florida's landscape. So if you want to step up your summer recipe with maybe a Florida watermelon and mozzarella salad, or maybe you're ready to fire up the grill, throw some of that sweet corn on it, or maybe you're looking for something simple like a cheesy baked Florida tomato, which is my favorite, with a little bit extra cheese, obviously. Go to freshfromflorida.com to get free and delicious recipes like these. And while you're there, you might as well check out to see what else is in season and see how you can support our Fresh from Florida farmers. And as always, don't forget, there's sunshine in every bite. Whatever you're doing, social media is such a huge tool now because that's how you're reaching people these days. I mean, you look at all the streaming that's TV now. It's like, you know, cable TV is not even a thing much anymore. So social media is an unbelievable tool. And before we move on, I want to get y'all's take. TikTok also, unbelievable tool. Yeah. Everything that's going on right now with TikTok. I mean, like, what do you think happens to a business, whether it's this business or anybody's business that relies on tools like TikTok, if it shuts down?
Yeah, I would say have multiple avenues of monetary income. Like, try and have as many ways to, like, of money coming in. For instance, we have merch. So like, even if TikTok went down, like, we have... Well, and it's we don't even make money off of TikTok, though. It's more so just, like...
get the name out there,
getting our name
on the different platforms, and I think being all spread out well across the board is like the key to things. And a lot of people will hyperfixate on one specific platform, get really comfortable in that platform. Okay, well, what if that platform disappears one day?
Yeah.
then what do you have to fall back on? And so it's like, that's why we're kind of broad spectrum. You know, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on, you know, a little bit of everything, YouTube. And so we kind of make sure that we're spread across. That way, like, God forbid, TikTok comes tomorrow, you know. I've got a really, really, honestly, personally, my favorite platform is Instagram.
Yeah.
I really, that is
take.
my,
okay.
and that is a platform that not most people really generally like,
it's
especially
harder.
creators.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to go viral on TikTok,
100%.
on Instagram, and to build the audience on Instagram. And I'm almost like, the crazy part of me is almost a little bit like, that's why I like it, because it is the more difficult one.
It's a
and
challenge.
So for me, it feels like I'm accomplishing more by building on there. And so I just think, like, spreading it out and having, you know, a different, everybody, it's easy to go, I don't want to say it's easy, but in my personal opinion, the easiest platform to go viral on and to gain an audience on is TikTok.
100%. And you can do whatever, like,
exactly.
There's people that are just dancing.
Yep.
And and go viral.
Like that.
And you're not going to catch me out there dancing.
No. You should try it.
You think? I mean, I'd like to think I'm a pretty good dancer. But
I don't know. When Wanda was coming after you were...
I saw a little step in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe
I
we'll
saw
do
a
that
little
then.
rhythm. I'm not going to lie.
We might hit y'all with a TikTok dance after
my gosh.
this.
That,
But
that would be.
I'm with you on that, and that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and
and
also,
that's good
like,
advice.
having, like, she's selling cows too, so there's like the whole her breeding program, and then outside of that, merch as well, and other things.
There's
just,
so
like,
many ways that we honestly, like, make money. We have, you know, we're in the process, like, it just, there's so many different things. Like, we have, like I said, we have the merch, and then, like, I have my little breeding program on the side. Again, total all natural breeding for pets, you know, little small fluffy cows, doing it, you know, as ethically and morally as possible, where we don't have much human intervention. Like I said, cows in a pasture, they procreate. You want to know another thing that's weird to me, Pat, that I think that it just, there's a massive disconnect in, like, people thinking that, like, why do people think that people, I mean, I guess there are programs that kind of do, like, the, you know, artificial insemination, and where you're doing semen collection, and there's a lot of human involvement, but, like, there's a massive disconnect in people thinking that animals don't like breeding. Like, why do we assume that, like, that's not, like, fun for the animals, or that they don't enjoy it? And that's so interesting to me that everybody thinks that. Like, I get so many comments on things, people are like, stop breeding cows, as if I'm out there, like, with action figures breeding them, and I'm like, I'm not.
You're right,
They're doing it themselves, and it's weird
it's a
that we
natural
as
thing
humans
to do,
think that. I mean, most humans enjoy it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you think that, you know, cattle or pigs or things like that wouldn't also enjoy that aspect of life? You know what I mean? And so
totally,
I think that that's something that people don't think about very often.
You're spot on. And look, I think what I'm doing, what y'all are doing, what our families do, there's 60 million people in rural America. We don't have an issue with those people, right? Because we're doing what they know and have grown up doing and they love. It's the people outside of the 60 million that think of us as just crazies. But that's why I do what I do and y'all do what you do. It's an educational piece of it. You've got to educate the people outside of rural America that go to the grocery store and buy the food and just assume that it just gets there by a UFO or something, and that it's just there. And, like, that's the cool thing about the advocating for ag that I'm passionate about, because there's a lot of people that think we're all crazy because cows are breeding or evil, or no, you can't kill a cow for the beef. Well, I mean, how are you supposed to get it? And what you said this a lot, which I really appreciate, the ethical part of it. I mean, you're raising animals for pets, right? And you're farming. That's farming. There's beef cattle. I'm come from a great beef cattle family, and yes, I mean, they get sent off, and yes, that's what's going to end up on your plate. You do it the right way, and that's the educational piece that I think is so important for people to know.
What kind of life did that animal live?
Exactly.
And I think there's a massive disconnect in that, and that, like, you know, you have animals that, you know, live a very hard life, and, you know, just have, like, constant stress, or they're just not treated properly or everything. You know, we have a local friend over
I love
here,
what she
and
said.
she says, you know, I know that a lot of people would have an issue with how she does it. She raises her animals, you know, in a pet type environment, and then she does it gets to the point where they do become her food. And she said, you know, I know that this animal never missed a meal in its entire life. I know this animal lived a life of stress-free love and bliss. and it, you know, laid out in the sunshine, and it ate the freshest grass, and it got the best hay, and it got this. And then in the very end, in that moment, it had no idea what was happening, and it was gone. But the dignity that comes with raising an animal that way and cultivating, you know, I think it's so hard for people to wrap their head around that is the most humane way to do it.
Farmers are caretakers, and that's what needs to be the message, right? I mean,
and that there's no suffering at the end.
Correct.
No,
you know,
no, they don't live a life of suffering. They live a life of bliss, and they don't understand. In the end, it's like, you know what someone told me not long ago, Pat, that really kind of switched my perspective. Animals have no concept of life expectancy. They don't know how long they're supposed to live. All they know is how they were treated in the time that they spent with you, and that changed my life. Because they don't know that. If an animal here were to die tomorrow, they have no idea that they didn't live a full life. The only person that knows they didn't live a full life is you. So take the time that they have with you and make sure their life is full. And that is what constitutes living a full and purposeful life. And then that animal goes on to
totally. And you can tell that's one of y'all's mission statements here at Knucklebump. I'm here to say, non-biased, I'm looking around, these animals probably live better than me right here at Knucklebump Farm. So great job on that.
Thank you.
What are things that y'all would say on how to face adversity to the people out there?
Kill them with kindness or ignore them.
Well, and I just think that's like in general is just like kind of switching the script and changing your perspective on finding the silver lining in everything. And so it's like, 2 weeks ago, I lost a couple ducklings, and I'm like, dang, like I was so hard on myself about that because, like, honestly, like it was my fault. Like they passed away because of me, and it was my fault. But gosh, I learned so much from that experience. You know what I mean? And guess what? That'll never happen again. And I think that is one of the things that people take for granted is like sometimes you have to go through learning experiences and bad things have to happen in order to prevent it from happening again in the future. And that's something that comes with agriculture and comes with farming. It's like you're learning as you go and you're figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And you have to be able to give yourself grace in those moments of like, hey, I'm doing my best. You know what I mean? And people, I think like a quote that people say that I hear all the time is like, to have livestock is to have dead stock. And that is the truth. It's like, with having so many lives that are reliant on you, you're going to have loss. And just finding a way to learn from those losses and find those silver linings in those moments of like, oh, I lost this animal, but wow, look at what I learned from this that I can now apply to help save another animal in the future. And when you flip the script and change your perspective on loss, then it just changes everything. That's something I've learned.
That makes a ton of sense. Speaking of the animals, and really, in my opinion, the most important part about the farm, I mean, y'all are cool and all, but whether it's Derek or Emmanuel or Elijah or Baby Bop.
Good job.
Or Rocket.
Yes.
Love Rocket.
You're hired.
I mean, where did y'all start when it comes to the animals and anything exciting coming up when it comes to new breeds?
Where it started with the animals.
So it all started with, I think it's safe to say Homer and Humpty started it all. So,
well, and you working at your grandma's to make ends meet. Like
us living in my grandma's driveway in a camper.
And then we managed her farm.
And we were we were poor. And
Yeah.
so I was like, can I make a little bit of money? Or can you pay me to do something? Like, I'll work, I'll do something, but I just need to make like some money. And so my grandma was like, okay, I will pay you $200 a week to feed my animals for me. And I was like,
on
rich.
it.
Yeah.
Rich.
Deal.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And so I started feeding her animals. And naturally, like, I've grown up with all these animals, so I have great relationships with them anyway. And so then it just became like, oh, this is like entertaining. And then I would like record myself as I was doing like my barn chores and stuff. And then just kind of like, very much as she's been kind of immersed in improv, I just take like an improv approach to like the content that I create. And so I don't pre-make storylines in my head. I just go out, and when the cows yell at me, I just pretend like they're saying something and I respond to them. And that's just kind of like how it started. And I would make my $200 every week. And I remember one time I was like, is there anything else that you need as like to make money? And she was like, okay. She was like, you can wash my windows. And me and Christian were out there in our bathing suits, like scrubbing her windows. Just
made a couple $100.
Anything.
Like, nice.
She was working at a nursery up the street, making $14 an hour and working her butt off. She would come home drenched in sweat, like, you know,
just
we
getting
worked.
After it.
Yeah, just
and contracting. I like
the
the painting and
building.
I like woodworking, so I did. Yeah, I did.
But
that
she was holding down the fort and making like a couple like money, a
Barely.
little money, and I was making like $200 a week feeding my grandma's animals, and that's really genuinely how it started. And so we started, I was filming, I had Homer, which was my very first Highland that I bought, and I bought him myself, saved up my money, bought him. And then I had Humpty, who was born on my grandma's farm. He was born on my birthday, and he had a very, very tough start to life. And so he was like our baby. And then Homer and Humpty were like the dynamic duo that I started really recording the videos with. And that's kind of what brought in the initial following, was really Homer and Humpty. They were really the ones. Like, my very first viral video was a video of Homer. That's still to this day, honestly, is my most viral video from the farm, even more viral than any of the Emmanuel videos.
Oh, man.
Is the Homer
Emmanuel,
video.
Come on, you got to step up the game.
What's
I
up,
know.
dude?
I would say probably collectively, Emmanuel, like, views
It's more popular.
is definitely more popular, but as far as like the most views I've ever got on a video were Homer. And so that's kind of how it started. And
Emmanuel's like a modern day legend.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, honestly.
It's
like,
hey y'all, it's Pat, and I'm here to talk about one of my favorite companies in the world, AgAmerica. AgAmerica is your go-to financial partner for all things agriculture. As the largest independent financial firm dedicated to rural America, AgAmerica is changing the game of ag lending and leveling up financing options for farmers, ranchers, and landowners all across the nation. And I'll let you in on a little secret. The thing that sets this company apart from the rest is the people. They understand firsthand the unique needs of American farmers and ranchers because many of them grew up on farms themselves. They take a farmer-focused approach to finance, prioritizing relationships over transactions to help you build a stronger financial foundation for not only yourself, but for your family. So whether you're looking to buy land or secure working capital, AgAmerica has your back. Visit AgAmerica.com today to learn more and see how they can help you achieve long-term financial success. Because don't ever forget, when farmers thrive, we all do. But how does that even come about? Especially, like, I'm just talking about Emmanuel again because it just blows my mind how this emu, who's a seems like very nice emu, like, just goes viral like that.
It was the craziest story. So I actually was really in on my cow stuff. Like, the cattle is really what I was like wanting to go and be successful online. And so I was making a video in my grandma's pasture, and this is just what I would do. I would just make videos all day long while Christian was at work, just trying to find something that like people really like gravitated towards. And I was trying to show the difference between a Brahma cow and a Zebu, to show the difference between a standard and a mini. And I was standing there and I had my hand on the Brahma and I was saying, this is and I was going to say, this is a Brahma full-size cow. And at the same exact time, with my camera propped up, Emmanuel came into the shot because he's attracted to things that like shine or anything like that, or seeing himself on camera. He loves that. And so
I love that.
All at once, I say, this is and I say, Emmanuel, don't do it, because he's coming right in. Like, I didn't even think that, like, I was literally telling him not to do it. Like, I never thought that, like, the quote, Emmanuel, don't do it, would become, like, so famous, or, like, you know, that people would be quoting it. And I just was trying to get him to not interrupt my video. And I'm, like, standing there, like, what the heck? And he's just, like, sitting there looking at him. So then I'm kind of, like, giggling because it's kind of funny. But I'm still annoyed that he interrupted my video. So, like, I just kind of shoo him away. And I restarted the camera, and I recorded the actual video that I planned to record. That video sat in my phone for probably 2 months. And then one day I was just, like, sick, and I didn't have the energy to go film content. So I was, like, looking back through my phone for old videos that I could post. And I found that video, and I was like, actually, this is kind of funny, like, now that I look back at it. So I posted it not thinking anything. And it was, like, the next day. Literally, it's so weird. Everything changed.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, I feel like, was it Jimmy Fallon? That, like, how have y'all handled, and like, what goes through y'all's mind when you just look back and say, I was on Jimmy Fallon, number one, and then all you gotta do is go on your social medias every single day, just thousands of people engaging with y'all. I mean, how do y'all feel about that?
Our supporters are amazing.
Yeah, we have, like, it's so genuinely, like, the people that support me are the kindest, coolest people, like, the way that they, like, have my back and everything. But it's also, like, incredibly surreal because we are genuinely the most normal, average people. Like,
and that wasn't the plan, was to go like, y'all are doing what y'all want to do because you're passionate about it.
Right. And so it is, like, actually just, it's really crazy the way that people like recognize, like, I go out and about. I've lived in this town my whole life. So But it is interesting now, like when you go out, the amount of heads that like turn, because people are like, oh, well, first of all, you don't really see that many people walking around in orange overalls. So I feel like people recognize me because of what I wear as well, just like naturally. But it's weird because we still operate on a very just like, this is our hometown, like, you know, function. And so when we do get like, whoa, that's weird. Like, oh, wait, you know what I mean? Huh? But yeah, we're very, I mean, like I'll kind of just like goof off with people, crack jokes. And I think the coolest for me is kids that recognize me.
Yeah.
Like I was a nanny for like 10 plus years, like full-time nanny, like love kids, like should have been an elementary school teacher, honestly. Maybe like if I wasn't a farmer, that's probably the route I should have gone on. Like very good with kids. Yeah. When kids recognize me in public, that's cool for me because I feel like really that's kind of the crowd that like I want to teach and to educate and kind of, I feel like the older generation, it's kind of hard for them to kind of just flip the script and sell everything they have and become a farmer. But if I can get to that younger generation and inspire them when they're young, hopefully, you know, we can have more up and coming farmers and female farmers.
Totally,
and I kind of like, I think that I had a mom message me last night and she said, you know, thank you for just being not inappropriate. Yeah. You know, like so many people, you know, they're throwing around curse words or different things like that, which is fine. But like I've really tried to keep my platform, one, politic free. Yeah. People don't know what I believe in. Yep. They don't know who, you know, they know I believe in God. Yep. But that's the extent of it.
It's huge.
I don't talk about my eating habits. People don't know if I eat meat, if I don't eat meat. They don't know if I'm vegan, if I'm vegetarian, if I'm a meat eater. They don't know any of that because I don't tell them because I don't want to give people any reason for there to be any sort of divide. Yeah. I don't give them that. Yeah. And
which I love that. And I think ag as a whole, and I've been very vocal on the show about this, and which is so cool. What a bipartisan subject that is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, this isn't a political show, but y'all got to get behind people eating, people raising animals. So that's the coolest thing about this, in my opinion. But when you think about the fame, I mean, what do y'all think is the most challenging part of it?
Well, Taylor, she has to, you know, she deals with all of anything that happens. It goes.
Everybody's
through.
an expert.
She's the face.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's an expert, and really so I think the opinions. First of all, I think that God prepared me over the course of several, like going on 10 years. My first viral video, which didn't really have anything to do with farming, was back in 2014. And so he has cultivated and prepared me up until this point to be strong enough to be able to handle this level of, you know, notoriety and platform. And so I don't care what people think about me. Like I used to be the person that was like, everybody needs to like me because I'm a good person, and I just need everybody to know that I'm a good person. I don't care if you think I'm not a good person anymore because I know in my heart that I'm a good person. God knows I'm a good person. My fiance knows I'm a good person. My best friends, Pat knows I'm a good person. You know, so like who else do I really need, you know? And so, but no, like I think just kind of the hardest part genuinely is the opinions and everybody being an expert, everybody thinking that they know better than you. And like, you know, I'll post like the simplest thing, like what did I post the other day? And it was like, people started like losing their minds over it. Like everybody just thinks that they know how to do my job better than me. Yeah. And that there's a better way, you know, to do it. And so I think that's really the only really hard part is just all the opinions. And sometimes you just have to block people that don't like know. I get a lot of older people that are very opinionated and like want me to like be, or I'll have people that'll be like, you need to talk about this and advocate for this right now. And I'm like, no, I don't.
Do it now.
It's actually, I don't have to do that. Like I can be who I am and not conform to what everybody else thinks that I need to be and not speak about what everybody, you know, thinks that I need to speak about and just be me and create the content that I create and bring smiles to faces and not have to get, you know, political or specific or divisive. And
well, we wanted a platform that was unifying, not, you know, spreading people apart. And I think it's important that like I'm just like so proud of you because you are a safe place for not only children, but everybody else and anybody in between, like any spectrum of belief or age, or you just have broken through all of that to give content that actually is truly a lighthearted and safe and just it's a stress-free zone. And the amount of messages she really gets, she's being humble. The amount of messages she gets that are like, thank you so much, you're helping me put my kid to bed every single night. It's like your Instagram stories are what help me put our kids to bed, or, thank you, I had such a rough day, or my kid has a disability and the only thing that brings him light is you and your farm and your animals. And so that's really like the beauty of the brand that we've made, but you've really, spread light to so many millions of people, and it's just such a beautiful
It's the nicest thing, Christian. Wow, that was so nice. This show was built off of the people who come on the show that have traits of who the farmer is. You think about a Josh Allen, right? QB of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Hard work. Tyler Toney, who built just a YouTube empire with Dude Perfect.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur.
Right.
I mean, I feel like, and these are all traits of who the American farmer is. Y'all's traits: entrepreneur, hard work, resilient. Like, what are some things that y'all would say to the other farmers out there?
Good job.
Yeah.
We know. We know what it's like. It's
Keep
a sacrifice. So it's not a normal. You can't just
9
pick
to
up
5
and go.
job. Yeah.
You're kind of, and a lot of people that also are interested in farming, you got to really understand that your life is drastically going to change. Like, you can't just up and go unless you have the means, obviously, and people that you trust that can stay back and take care of the animals at the level you would, which is where it's hard for us. We cannot, go to certain events together. We can't go to certain people's weddings together. We can't travel like we used to.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful we had that opportunity to travel around during the pandemic, because we kind of got it out of our systems of like the freedom. And now, not that we're not free here, but it's a different level of sacrifice where your time is the priority of your life are these animals, and each other as well. But the animals come first, and you can't do the normal things that, I guess you could say like the average person does. We don't just go out and go to dinner or go to lunch or do anything like that. But it's also like we don't feel like we're missing out.
Yeah.
We had our 20s to do all of that, and just really grateful because we're basically stuck here, but it's not stuck as about like more of a negative word, I guess. But like,
no, you're an owner and an operator,
yeah.
right? I mean, it's just like.
But I would say to all the other farmers, like, good job. We see you, because it is not easy. People might see Taylor on social media and it's so lighthearted and it's just the glimpses of the funniness and the content she creates. But we are very tired constantly, not getting, we're working.
I'm honest about that on social media too. Like I'm on there snotting, crying.
Yeah.
Like I don't
The loss.
I feel like a lot of farmers share the beauty of the farming and the pretty plants and the beautiful animals, and it's very
It's very realistic.
It's like, oh, it's whimsical and it's like aesthetic, and it's like, no,
the sun is
like
setting.
There's cow poop on me
all
every
over me.
day.
Yeah.
Like we're not, you know what I mean? Like those boots.
Broke them in.
Green.
Good.
Oh, these
good.
things have been broken in now.
Yeah.
Good.
And so I'm it's there's so much that people like don't see, and like I try to show like, hey, there's a lot of loss that happens on farms, because I feel like the average person just doesn't want to show the sad parts or the unfortunate parts, or them, literally crying hysterically, eyes swollen shut, and I show all that, and I don't hold back. And I think that if there's anything I could say to, other farmers, it would be show it all.
Future of Knucklebump. Got a TV show possibly coming out, is that correct? Maybe, yes, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. We have some meetings coming.
So what else is coming up for Knucklebump? I want to hear about it. I want to hear about the TV show, too.
I guess this will be like the grand...
Yeah, so we have a few exciting things happening. We're in the process of potentially pitching a TV show, which is really super exciting.
Love that.
And we're hoping for like a streaming platform like Netflix, just because our audience is worldwide, and so being on like cable television doesn't necessarily really align. We'll be thankful for anything that we get, but hoping for like a Netflix or Hulu so that our fans overseas can stream it. That's really awesome. We're also in the process of starting our nonprofit, which will be called Knucklebump Farms Foundation. And so that will be like community outreach, our rescue and rehab, and just youth programs, various different things. Like we have so many dreams. We right now are we're starting a program where we just have so many chicken eggs, and it's like, we could sell them for $5 a dozen, but do we really, really need that? And no, like we would rather set up a stand and allow, low-income families to come and get a free carton of eggs a week, farm fresh eggs. And so that's a program that we're implementing right now. But like our biggest thing is community outreach and just directly in our local community.
Yes.
This has been awesome. And I cannot wait to continue to follow along with y'all. I mean, like I said, you can get out your phone and Taylor and Christian, boom. It's just, y'all are always in my face, it seems like. Which is unbelievable to see. But anything that I can help with, please let me know. Loved having you on the show today.
We so appreciate it.
You're so awesome.
One more knuckle bump. Boom.
Triple.
There you go. Hey, Taylor Christian with Knucklebump Farms. And as always, like, comment, share, subscribe. Do whatever you got to do to be like a farmer.